As a civil engineer, have you ever wondered how loads from the ceiling is being transferred to the roof beams, down to the columns, to the foundation? So today we're looking at a very, very important topic, which is how to calculate roof load to the roof beams, which is ultimately transferred to the columns, and then columns to the foundation, foundations to the soil. So this is a very, very important topic because when most people do design, they just assume any load for the roof and then just continue with the design. But yeah, I'm going to break it down so that you understand how this load is being done. So let's just understand this. What is a roof? A roof is the uppermost structural element of a building designed to protect occupants and internal spaces from environmental conditions such as rain, wind, sunlight, etc. It also safely transfers load, including self-weight, finishes, wind load, and imposed loads to supporting members such as beams, columns, and walls. So this statement is talking about what a roof is. First, it protects the humans from the environmental conditions and also protect internal spaces. Then the next thing is to transfer the load, including those self-weight, to supporting members, like the roof beams, the columns, down to the foundations. If you have a wall, it also transfers to the wall, depending on the configuration of your building, right? So there are different types of roofs. Different types. We have the flat roofs, we have the gable roofs, we have the hip roofs, we have the mono pitch roof, truss roofs, irregular forms. We even have the arched one. So from these types, there are other types of roofs that are being mixed together. So the roof can be made of either wood or steel, depending on the purpose, right? So each type transfers load differently, making load distribution as important consideration in structural designs. So the method of calculating roof loads, there are three methods. The first one is breaking the roof into smaller shapes, tributary area method, and method of trusses. So depending on the type of or the load or the intentions of the design, right? So there are three methods of calculating it: tributary area, method of trusses, and breaking the shape of the roof. Trying to have complex, breaking into smaller sizes. So but today we'll be looking at a very, very straightforward and less complicated type method, which is the tributary area method. Now the tributary area method is the most practical way to transfer roof loads to beams, regardless of the roof shape or slope. It assigns load based on the roof area naturally supported by each beam, reflecting load path under gravity, right? So this approach simplifies calculations, avoids complex geometry, and provides accurate results for both regular and irregular roof configurations. So this, all that I've read here is talking about the tributary area method. So this method, it helps to get the roof calculation, makes it easier irrespective of the shape, irrespective of the design. It's whether regular or irregular, it gets it for you, right? So we're looking at this sharp example so that we'll be able to understand how this works. So the data that was given, the building is a rectangular building, right? So the length is 18 meters, width is 12 meters. The roof type is a hip roof. Just from the image here, you can see it's a hip roof. So the goal, what are we to do? We want to calculate the roof load transferred to supporting beams using tributary area method, right? So we'll see this in action. Remember we said this tributary area transfers load under gravity, irrespective of the slope, irrespective of the design, whether regular or irregular. It gives you a less complex calculation and seamless calculation. So it's not something that you start worrying how you want to go about breaking these shapes into smaller. Architects, they like a lot of paparazzi, so to say. They need something that is complex, that will catch the eye of the client. So let us first understand the roof load spread part, how this transfers load. So you can see load travels from the roofing sheets to the purlines. So the purlines are the ones that are in direct contact with the roofing sheets. Yes, so from the roofing sheet, it transfers load to the rafters. So rafters are the ones connecting the highest points to the wall plate at the support there. So the rafters transfers load to the wall plate. The wall plate also transfers load to the beams, that is the roof beams. The roof beam transfers load to the column. The column transfers to the foundation to the soil. So this is the part in which load is being transferred, right? You know, the roof is made up of various components: the roofing sheets, the purlines, the rafters, the king posts, the wall plates, the tie beams, the trusses. So all this, they transfer load, right? And the tributary area, say the load is transferred vertically by weight. So step one, we need to understand the roof geometry. So we are given the length as 18 meters, the weight as 12 meters. So total roof area generating load is length times width, 18 times 12 equals to 216. So we are looking at the plan area. This is just the plan area, not the roofing area. So but beams do not carry total load directly, right? They carry loads based on tributary width. For load transfer, structural beams receive load based on planned projection, not sloping surface area, because roof weight acts vertically downwards due to gravity. So this statement is telling that irrespective of the configuration of the roof, the weight of the roof is vertical. It's not even based on the slope so the calculation of this now will be based on the plan area, how it is being exerted on it. So step 2, we need to determine the loading. So the loading, I mean the dead load and the live load, right? So we are assuming a lightweight roof. So the dead load, we have the roofing sheet, aluminum roofing sheet, with a with a load of 0.10 kilonewton per meter square. The ceiling board as 0.15 kilonewton per meter square. The timber or the purlines 0.25 kilonewton per meter square. So total dead load will now be the addition of these loads given as 0.50. So the live load for inaccessible roofs, it is 0.75 kilonewton per meter square. So you can check the load schedule to understand this. So ultimate load now will now be, we are factoring it now, 1.4 GK plus 1.6 QK based on BS standard, right? So once we do that, we'll be able to get the ultimate load. Now the next step is the beam arrangement. You can see from the image there, we have the spacing along the longer side, which is 18 meters as 4 meters, and along the shorter side the spacing is 3 meters. So this is how it is forming a grid, like the roof beams that is going to receive the load from the roofing sheet. So each of these roof beams collect load, right? Collect their own load, and then they transfer it to the columns closer to it there, or the beams closer to it, depending on the condition, right? So the beams along the 18 meters, we have it as 4 longitudinal beams. Along the 12 meters, we have it as 7 transverse beams. So this will guide us in our calculations, right? So step 4, we want to use the tributary portion. Yeah. So load is shared between perpendicular beams, right? So first thing is for the beam running along the 18 meter span, we convert the area load to line load on the 18 meter, and that is the roof ultimate load multiplied by the tributary width of the beam. So for interior beams, the tributary width is 4 meters. The reason why I say it's 4 meters is half of the load from the beam is going to half of the load from the beam from the roof is going to the beam on 2 sides, so that's why it is 4 meters. While for the edge beams, just only from one side, 2 meters. So for the interior beams, we have it as 7.60 kilonewton per meter. For the edge beams, we have it as 3.80 kilonewton per meter. I hope I explained this well, so that you'll be able to get or grasp what is involved, or how to transfer the loads from the roof to the beam. The beam takes line loads. So you'll convert the area load to line load on the 12 meter beam. Same thing for the interior beams. The tributary width is 3 meters because the spacing of the beams are 3 meters. So for the interior ones, half is coming to the beam, half is coming to the other beam. So 1.5, 1.5, we give it 3 meters. So that's for the interior beams, we have 5.70 kilonewton per meter. For the edge beams, it's just only one part that is coming to the beams. So we have that as the tributary width as 1.5. So the load will now be 2.85 kilonewton per meter. Note, load intensity per meter is but structural demand differs because the span differs. Get that, right? So this is just a breakdown of how to calculate a roof beam, the load coming from the roof beam, right? So for more information